You've been texting her regularly, keeping the vibe alive, staying consistent, and then suddenly, she vanishes. No warning. Just short, dry replies or nothing at all. You feel the shift instantly. That warmth is gone, and now your brain's spinning. Did I mess up? Is she losing interest? So you double down. You send another message, maybe even call. You try being extra kind, patient, understanding, but none of it works. Radio silence. Then, just as you're mentally checking out and shifting focus back to your own life, she reappears. Friendly, curious. Suddenly, she misses you. She wants to talk. Now she's wondering where you've been. The same woman who went cold is now circling back with interest. Confusing? It doesn't have to be. This isn't a random glitch. It's part of how the game is played in today's dating world. Especially with women who are used to attention, understand emotional leverage, and know how to test a man's position. Most guys panic in this situation. They get anxious, chase harder, or shut down entirely. But if you know what's really happening beneath the surface, everything changes. In this video, we'll unpack the psychology behind her cold then hot behavior and why it's more common than you think. You'll learn how to stay cool under pressure, respond with strength instead of desperation, and flip the power dynamic without manipulation. Because when you stop chasing, she starts noticing. And not because she feels sorry for you, but because now you're a mystery. Now you're rare. And that makes her come back with a different kind of interest. So let's break it all down. These are the 7 reasons she pulls away and suddenly returns, and how to handle each one with clarity, confidence, and masculine composure. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. You became predictable. The fastest way to lose a woman's interest is to become predictable. Most men think consistency means sending good morning texts, always being available, always saying yes, and constantly checking in. What they don't realize is that predictability kills curiosity. And once a woman stops wondering about you, her interest starts to fade. You become part of her routine, not her excitement. When you first meet, everything is new. She doesn't know how you think, where you stand, or what you'll do next. That mystery keeps her emotionally engaged. But when every message is answered instantly, when your reactions are always the same, and when your world starts revolving around her, she reads you like a children's book. No suspense, no plot twists, just a nice guy trying too hard. That's when she pulls away. Women are emotional creatures. They're not looking for robotic consistency. They're attracted to the emotional wave. It's not the drama they want. It's the unpredictability that keeps them emotionally alert. A man who doesn't reveal everything, who sometimes pulls back, who has things going on outside of her, that man stays on her mind. But the moment you become predictable, she stops thinking about you. And that silence you're getting, that's her mind looking for something more stimulating. What most men do when ignored is panic. They try to re-engage. They overcompensate. They think, maybe if I do more, she'll come back. But that only confirms her suspicion. You've got nothing else going on. You're too easy. You're too available. And that's when she checks out completely. But here's where things flip. The moment you stop responding like she expects, when you stop being predictable, something in her shifts. When your attention isn't guaranteed anymore. When you don't reply right away. When she senses you're not chasing. Suddenly, you're not boring anymore. You become a puzzle again. You spark curiosity. And that's when she reappears. She'll reach out with something random. She'll like your old post. She'll miss your voice. That's not love. It's the pull of unpredictability. If you want to stop being ignored, stop being the guy she can predict. Make her unsure of what you'll say next. Let her feel the gap when you're not around. Be the man who isn't afraid to step back, go silent, and live his life without chasing her approval. Predictability may feel safe, but it kills desire. Unpredictability, when done right, creates tension, and that tension is exactly what brings her back harder than ever. Sign number 2. She got the validation she wanted. A lot of women aren't looking for love when they first start talking to you. They're looking for validation, attention, a boost to their ego, and once they get it, they back off. Not because you did anything wrong, but because their goal was never connection. It was confirmation from the first message. She's scanning for signs. She wants to see if she still has it. Can she get your attention? Can she get a reaction out of you? Can she make you pursue? If the answer is yes, she feels powerful. And in today's world of likes, follows, and constant options, that kind of power becomes addictive. So when you start replying fast, giving her compliments, cancelling plans to talk to her, making her feel like the center of your world, she clocks it. She doesn't need to wonder anymore. You like her, you're interested. Mission accomplished. That's when the silence hits. She goes cold, stops responding, shortens the conversations, and you're left confused, wondering what changed. You didn't realize you were a mission, not a mystery. The problem is she got what she came for, and now you're stuck trying to hold on to someone who was never emotionally invested in the first place. But here's where the shift happens. The moment she senses that you're no longer giving her that same energy, the same validation, the same attention. Suddenly, her confidence shakes, the silence flips. She starts wondering if you've moved on, if there's someone else, if she misread your interest. That doubt makes her chase. When she first ignored you, it wasn't personal. It was strategic. She had what she needed, but when you go quiet, when you stop giving her that free energy, when you remove yourself from the emotional transaction, she starts needing something from you. That's when she comes back. She'll test the waters again, ask how you've been, act like she missed you. She's not in love. She's checking if the validation is still there. The key is to stop being the source of her ego boost. You're not her confidence builder. You're not her attention on demand. When you treat yourself with more value, when you stop overgiving, when you keep your energy in check, she feels the shift. And because women are driven by emotion and uncertainty, that shift triggers interest all over again. You were too available too quickly. You gave too much too soon. The moment she had your validation in her pocket, she didn't need to work for anything else. But the moment you stop playing the role she expected, the game changes. You can't make her value you by giving more. You make her value you by becoming scarce. Not as a trick, but as a mindset. You're not here to prove yourself. You're the prize too. When she realizes she might lose access to that validation, that's when she starts wanting it again badly. Sign number 3. You tried too hard. Trying too hard is one of the biggest mistakes men make with women, and it always backfires. At first, it seems like effort should pay off. You plan the dates. You send the good morning texts. You ask how her day is going. You make it clear you're into her. In your mind, this is what being a good man looks like. You think consistency, kindness, and honesty will make her want to stay. But in her mind, the moment she realizes you're trying too hard, something shifts. She stops feeling excitement and starts feeling control. Here's why. When a man tries too hard, he gives up his edge. He becomes easy to impress, easy to read, easy to win over. And what's easy becomes boring. Women don't chase men who look desperate for attention. They chase men who seem just out of reach. When you're always the first to message, when you try to fix silence with more words, when you're constantly showing her you care more than she does, you create imbalance, and women feel it immediately. The truth is, women don't respond to pressure, they respond to presence. If your energy screams, "Please choose me," she sees you as someone who has no better option. And that's not attractive. You think you're being genuine, but to her it looks like you're trying to buy her affection with effort. That's not love, that's a performance. Trying too hard also makes her feel like she's doing you a favor by being around. She starts pulling away because she knows you won't walk away. You've shown her you'll chase no matter what. And once she feels that security, she stops investing. That's when she starts ignoring you. And you think the solution is more effort. But that's exactly what pushes her away further. Now here's what happens when you stop trying so hard. She senses the shift. You no longer text first. You no longer chase dry replies. You stop asking to see her. And you start living your life like she's not the center of it. That creates space. That space makes her uncomfortable. It makes her wonder. And most importantly, it makes her feel like she's no longer in control. That's when you become interesting again. Because now she has to try. She has to think. She has to work. And the moment she has to earn your attention, she values it. The solution is not to go cold or play games. It's to find your balance. Show interest, but don't overinvest. Be real, but don't be needy. Give space. Let her come to you. The moment you stop trying to convince her that you're good enough, she starts seeing you differently. You stop being the guy begging to be chosen and become the man she doesn't want to lose. Sign number 4. She feels you're emotionally dependent. One of the fastest ways to turn a woman off is to become emotionally dependent on her. It doesn't matter how good-looking, successful, or kind you are. Once she senses that your emotional state depends on her presence, her response, or her approval, she starts to pull away. She doesn't want to be your therapist, your mother, or your emotional lifeline. She wants a man who can hold his own no matter what she does or doesn't do. Emotional dependence shows up in subtle ways at first. You start to feel anxious when she doesn't text back quickly. You begin to question your worth when she seems distant. You look to her for constant reassurance. You start to fear losing her more than you care about maintaining your self-respect. In your mind, she becomes your emotional center, and everything she does either lifts you or breaks you. That imbalance creates pressure, and pressure kills attraction. The moment the woman feels responsible for how you feel, she starts losing respect. It becomes too much. She starts to feel like she has to manage your emotions instead of simply enjoying your presence. And most women are not built to carry that weight in a relationship. They want emotional support, not emotional responsibility. When she sees that your peace disappears every time she pulls back, she knows you're hooked. And not in a strong masculine way, but in a needy, dependent way. That's when she disappears. And that silence, it's not random, it's a test. She wants to see if you'll break, if you'll spiral, if you'll chase, if you'll beg for her attention to feel good about yourself again. But the moment you don't react that way, the moment you stay grounded, focused, and unshaken, that's when everything starts to change. That's when she sees strength, not weakness. You stop being predictable, you stop being desperate, you stop being emotional weight. And suddenly, she starts to wonder if you're really letting go. She starts to think about what life looks like without your attention. She wonders why you're not trying anymore, and that wonder turns into desire. Emotional independence means your world doesn't fall apart just because she disappears. It means you can feel things, but you're not ruled by them. It means you can care about her without making her your reason to exist. That balance is what keeps you attractive. It shows her that you're capable of leading your own life, managing your own feelings, and standing firm even when things get uncertain. A woman wants to feel emotionally safe with you, not smothered by your need for emotional survival. When you stop needing her to validate your worth, that's when she starts valuing your presence. She realizes she's with a man who is stable, not one who falls apart the moment he's not being fed emotionally. Sign number 5. She got bored with your energy. Boredom is a silent killer in modern dating. And most of the time, men don't even see it coming. You think everything is going well. The conversations are flowing. The compliments are flying. She's laughing at your jokes. Then one day she starts responding slower, the energy drops, you double text. She sends back a dry emoji, then she goes silent. And you're left wondering what happened. The answer is simple, your energy became predictable, and predictable isn't exciting. A lot of men confuse consistency with attraction. Yes, being consistent is important, but not when it becomes robotic. Not when your energy no longer carries a spark. If every message you send sounds the same, if every conversation follows the same pattern, if every compliment feels recycled, she starts feeling like she knows exactly how the story ends. And when she knows how it ends, she loses interest in reading it. You probably thought playing it safe would make her feel secure, that always being available, always agreeing, always pleasing would win her over. But the truth is, she doesn't want perfect. She wants real. She wants challenge. She wants depth. When your energy feels like it's trying too hard to keep the peace, it starts to feel like it has no personality. You become more of a performer than a man. And no woman chases a performance. What excites a woman is the feeling that she's discovering you. Layers, moments, moods, surprises. She wants to feel like there's more to uncover. That mystery keeps her mentally and emotionally engaged. But if you give her everything up front, every emotion, every compliment, every ounce of your attention, you leave nothing for her to chase. And women are wired to chase. They might not admit it, but they crave the thrill of not knowing what's next. Now here's the part most men miss. When she pulls back out of boredom and you react by increasing your attention, you only confirm her reason for losing interest. She already feels your energy is too available, too easy, too centered on her. So when you panic and double down, you become even more predictable. She feels no tension, no polarity, no contrast, and without those things, there's no desire. But when you start pulling your energy back, not in anger, but in awareness, something changes. You don't reply instantly. You stop initiating every conversation. You start putting more time into your own life, and you become less concerned with whether or not she's into you. That space creates curiosity, and curiosity leads to re-engagement. You need to be the kind of man whose energy carries variety. Sometimes intense, sometimes calm, sometimes playful, sometimes deep. Let her experience the full range. Don't let her figure you out too quickly. Keep growing. Keep moving. When she realizes your energy has layers, when she can't predict your next move, That's when boredom disappears and desire returns. Sign number 6. You became too accessible. There's a difference between being present and being available all the time. When a woman sees you as a man who's always there, ready to talk, ready to help, ready to drop everything for her, she starts to view you as something that's always on the shelf, always ready for her to pick up when she feels like it. And when something is always there, it stops feeling valuable. At first, she might love the attention. You reply fast. You never say no. You clear your schedule for her. You make her feel like she's the center of your world. But over time, that very behavior makes you less attractive, because she starts to feel like she has too much control. She knows she doesn't need to work for your attention. She knows you'll always be available. And once she knows that, the excitement fades. You being too accessible removes the element of pursuit. Women love to feel chosen, but they also love to feel like they earned it. When you make yourself constantly accessible, she doesn't have to try. She doesn't have to think. She doesn't have to wonder where she stands. She already knows. That certainty kills her drive to chase you. You become routine. You become expected. And no woman fantasizes about the man she expects to always be there. Being too accessible also gives her the message that you don't have much going on outside of her. You're always on the phone, always ready to hang out, always replying within seconds. That doesn't read as loyalty. It reads as emptiness. It tells her you're sitting around waiting for her to give your life meaning. And whether she realizes it or not, that makes her lose respect for you. Now here's the shift. When you become less accessible, not rude, not cold, just less constantly available, you change the game. You take longer to reply, not to play games, but because you're genuinely focused on your own life. You don't always pick up the phone because you're handling your priorities. You're no longer always free because your time is valuable, and that shift forces her to take notice. When a woman sees that she's no longer the automatic center of your attention, she gets uncomfortable, but in a good way. She starts to wonder. She starts to question. She starts to feel the absence of your attention, and that absence makes her want it again. That's how desire works. It grows in space. You don't have to be distant to be desirable. You just need to be a man who has a life outside of her. Goals, discipline, direction. When she sees that you're not always there waiting for her, you go from being an option to being a mystery. And mystery is magnetic. Sign number 7. You started seeking her validation. The moment you start needing her approval is the moment she stops feeling drawn to you. Attraction dies when a man starts trying to earn his place in a woman's life, rather than simply living in his purpose and letting her decide if she wants to be part of it. When you begin chasing her validation, seeking her compliments, her attention, her approval, it flips the natural polarity. You go from being the grounded man she was intrigued by to a boy asking, "Am I enough for you?" It starts subtly. Maybe you noticed she wasn't responding like she used to, so you tried harder. You complimented her more. You asked if she was okay. You tried to make her smile. Even when it felt forced, you thought if you just did a little more, gave a little more, showed a little more emotion, she'd come back. But all that effort, it wasn't strength. It was insecurity wrapped in effort. And women can feel it instantly. A woman doesn't fall for a man who needs her to clap for him. She falls for the man who knows who he is, whether she claps or not. The more you seek her validation, the more you hand her the power. And when she senses that you need her to feel good about yourself, she begins to lose respect for you. Not because she's cruel, but because you're giving away the one thing she was most attracted to, your self-assurance. Seeking validation turns your every move into a performance. You start filtering your words to avoid offending her. You laugh at things that aren't funny just to keep her attention. You post things online hoping she notices. You text things just to see if she reacts. And when she doesn't, you spiral. You wonder what you did wrong. You start thinking she's losing interest when in fact it was the neediness itself that made her step back. Women don't want to feel like they're dating a fan. They want a man. Someone who brings his own validation to the table. Someone who doesn't need to be told he's worthy because he already knows it. When you live for her approval, she sees you as replaceable. But when you stand firm in your value with or without her praise, she sees you as rare. Now, here's what shifts everything. The moment you stop needing her validation, you stop chasing. You stop reacting. You stop overthinking. You start living. You start doing things for you. You post what you want, say what you mean, and live how you please. Not to impress her, but because it's who you are. And ironically, that's when she starts chasing again. Because now you're leading. Now you're unshaken. Now you're a man she has to re-earn. And that shift from needy to grounded is what makes her come running back. When a woman ignores you, then suddenly wants you badly, it's not random. It's a response to your shift. When you stop chasing, stop proving, stop making her the center of your world, she feels it. She senses your detachment, your power, your focus returning to yourself. And that change wakes her up. She remembers the man she was drawn to in the first place. So don't beg, don't react, and don't panic. Let her feel the silence. Let her notice your absence. When your energy becomes rare again, so does her desire to be near it. That's when everything changes. And remember, if you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on this channel. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction every day. And I want to especially thank you for taking your time to watch till the end of this video. I hope the video helps you improve every aspect of your relationship with women. Until next time, see you in the next video.